Hello and a warm welcome back to the WenDirkCast with Jimbo and Calva. As always, we will be discussing the latest MFL updates, transfers, developments, and so much more that has gone on over the last, I think, 10 days or so, not the weeks or so, but last 10 days, because we're recording this back to our usual Sunday schedule. One important note before we kick off this episode: of course, none of what we chat about is financial advice. Do your own scouting or hire a director of Metaverse football. Calva, Season 5 is basically done, apart from a couple games and rollover. Season 6 is very fast approaching, very fast. Who have we got on today's episode to discuss it all with us?
Yes, we have a very special guest, someone who makes content about Football Manager normally for over 13 years, so quite a long time, but he is now giving MFL a shot. He just played his first full season, and also a fun fact, like you, Jimbo, he represented England digitally. I think it both ended for you in the group stage, if I'm correctly. Or is that,
yeah, it did.
So maybe you can join some therapy session later about it. But
maybe
we're very glad that you're here. WorkTheSpace, welcome to the WenDirkCast. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me on, Jed. Yeah, really excited to just nerd out over some MFL with you guys for an hour or so.
Yes, totally looking forward to that, and I'm really curious about your takes and also the kind of perspective of someone who knows Football Manager so well to have done a look at MFL. And maybe we can compare it later. We discuss Season 6 and your journey. So a lot to talk about for sure. Before we dive into that and the updates, always a couple of things about our streams and drops and those kind of shenanigans. So, Jimbo,
So I guess streams this week went great. We had Monday and Wednesday. Chat managed to rope me into doing a Wednesday episode or stream because I was house sitting basically an hour's drive away. Dog sitting as well and cat sitting as part of that, but I managed to get the girlfriend to have a substitute appearance into the house to take care of that whilst I streamed, and I won't talk about that right now because some of what is going to be in my moment of the week. But on Wednesday, in 2 days' time, we're listening to this, which will be Wednesday the 4th, pre-season pack drop stream. So make sure you're there an hour before the pack drop commences, wherever you are located around the world. We'll be live on Twitch, giving away probably about 15,000 MFL again, packs, players, all the good stuff, and then opening packs as well. So we love to see that. And then we also had this week the end of season WenDirk Cup. A massive thank you to all of you who took part. We had 128 people, which got filled in less than 5 hours, only being sort of accessible through our Discord, which I thought was pretty amazing. Congrats to Aaron, who ended up winning that a couple of hours ago. So that was free to enter. We did the registration condition, which was good. And so no one complained about playing out of position players and loopholing the engine and whatnot, which was good. So, but in a couple of days' time, we'll have some pre-season Season 6 tournaments coming your way as well. So make sure you're in the WenDirk Discord, which I saw Jack, you popped into a couple of days ago.
I did. I'm ready for the next one.
He's in there now. And I might see if we can try and get multiple ones as well on different sort of like overall caps, so we can get, not people at the upper end of the pyramid and the lower end of the pyramid don't feel like they have to try and, do something to fit into all of them. We can have ones for.
Yeah, like I couldn't enter. That was a bit awkward.
Yeah, that was funny. I set it all up and you couldn't even enter.
All my teams were too good. It was, I think, Tigers a bit of a humble brag, or like not a humble brag, kind of a proper brag. Yeah. Like being too good to enter. But I love the cap, right? That you can play it out of position. It's very frustrating. People are getting very annoyed, and you have like these Lego strikers destroying everyone. So amazing we could do it, but if we can have a little bit of a higher cap, maybe 850 or something.
What we can do this time, as I was speaking to Lucas, that you can impose a match cap, but you can max the rarities that are involved within that starting 11.
Okay, great.
So you can say, right, we can do an 800 cap, but only max of 6 rares. Therefore, you're not going to get those legendaries as high-end rares that suddenly, why have I got 2 centre-backs playing left and right wing, and that sort of piece. They're like 30 rated, but actually they destroy your 15, 60 rated fullbacks. So look out for those over the next couple of days to give you a bit more of a reason to test the engine before Season 6 officially starts.
Yes, sounds great. And I think we can start, right? Update. So start. Yeah, we can start definitely. Well, I was like, we can also talk about the drop, but maybe we can do season 6, like also discuss drops and new packs and reward packs, and we'll just
yes, of course.
put that together into one segment. So let's start with moment of the week. So yeah, Jimbo, you had I think an amazing moment of the week.
I think I'm not being biased here, but I'm going to be really biased. I think this might be the greatest escape ever seen in like the 14 seasons of MFL from, well, to be fair, it can only be 5 seasons because we've not actually had relegation in the alpha season, so it's not really an escape if you can't, nothing to escape from. But the mid-season, we were rock bottom with 6 points in bronze. And I complained so much about 3-5-2-B that I pivoted to a 4-1-2-1-2. Found some tactics within the 2-3 day break of the mid-season transfer window. And the second half of the season earned the most points in the league amongst anyone. So I think I went from 6 to 23. So what's that? 23 points from a possible 33? Yeah, 33? Yeah, 33, 11 games, which I think is pretty decent going. I managed to go from 12th to 6th. So we've escaped and we're in another season of bronze. That's the 4th season in a row I've been projected 10th or 11th, and I've escaped. So Basties, respectfully, F your projections. I'll do it again next season. No, we love you, man. We love you. But yes, I'm buzzing, and it came down to the last match day as well, where it was proper squeaky bum time, and I did not enjoy the build up to that whatsoever. You know, knees weak, palms are heavy, that sort of thing. Yeah, mum spaghetti. My heart rate was 120 throughout the match. It was not a healthy match to watch. Or healthy.
That's really very impressive, I must say.
Thank you.
Very, very impressive.
I'm buzzing over it.
I think it's also a very good story to tell to everyone, you know? Like,
we love a story.
We have this discussion, right? How much is it players, how much tactics and formation? Well, I think what you showed is that formation, I don't know if you change your tactics also a lot, but formation...
I basically set the tactics before that first game of the second half of the season, and I did not change them throughout. So
it clicked.
Yeah. The story is, you know, have formation flexibility. And I said that's one thing that last season I said I hadn't done for season 5, and I did it midway through and it paid dividends. So that's my biggest takeaway, is having positional formation flexibility.
And so inspirational story for other people who are struggling. You can turn it around, and your formation and tactics can save the day, and not without getting more players in.
Exactly.
So, amazing. What about you, Jack?
My moment of the week is actually playing out right now as we record, because I've got a playoff final going on to get out a Spark. My moment it's a bit of a weird moment of the week. I have 3 Spark teams this year, and one went up automatically in season 5, and the other 2 got drawn against each other in the second place playoffs. So I had the moral quandary of what do you do when 2 of your own teams are playing against each other, and the winning team gets promoted and the losing team obviously has to then run the gauntlet against the winner of the 3rd place playoff and the relegation playoff. So I did opt to strategically set up one team that I thought was probably the better team to not win that second place playoff. And it's not paying off just yet with 35 minutes gone, but hopefully my moment of the week will be about to happen, and it'll be both of them going up.
Wow. So we have to wait a couple minutes. And,
it's 0-0 after 40.
0-0, okay.
It's a dead team as well, so if I lose this, I will be very upset.
So that means if they win, then all 3 of your teams this season have gone up? All those 3 teams have gone up?
Which, sounds great, but the teams are quite stacked for Spark.
Oh, a stacker.
Yeah, I know one of those. Boo me.
But everyone's doing that in Spark, but yeah, it's interesting, that choice. Also, like, maybe that other team was your favorite, but you say they're stronger, so you make them lose. So it's like kind of, what do you do?
Yeah, I have. So there's a team in Japan, team in Singapore, team in China. So because I had 2 of the new locations, I kind of want to get them up quickly. But when it came to the playoff, it was between the Japanese team and the Singaporean team, and I think the Singaporean team could win a lot more easily. So I took the gamble of the team that I probably would rather have get promoted, not win that game. And the fact it's about to be 0-0 at half-time is making me slightly worried.
Yes,
Watch
so
this
we're
space
live
then.
witnessing a great moment of the week, or not so great, but it's definitely...
My mood for the rest of the podcast will be dictated by the next 5 minutes, so just keep an eye on my face and you'll know what's
Please,
happening.
engine, please,
So
engine.
I'll talk about my week, and then we go back to you, how this match ended. Well, I think there's two. One, I would say, is maybe a great moment of the week, and the other one involves you also, Jack, a little bit, about maybe a not so good moment of the week. I think you know what I'm going to talk about. But the great moment is that sale I did. I posted about on Twitter, like a really proper progression harvesting. Jimbo, you were quoting.
Yeah, I
that
also remember
tweet
which new term you conned for that, and I had to go back and look at our notes for what you call
the harvesting.
Progression harvesting, yeah.
Yeah, it's always a hard choice. So this was my best progressing player. He went from 71 to 89. He's now 25. So I feel like, was this a time to sell or not? I think looking at his charts, I think he's still going to progress more. But at some moment you just have to, you have to harvest. You have to get that profit. And it was about 800 in total, minus the fees and the original purchase price. So that is an amazing profit, which I can reinvest in new, let's say, potential fast progressing players. So that harvesting was really going very well for me. But then with Black Sea FC, I was going for the title. It was going very well. But then, so I had 3 red cards, 3 suspensions. Not 3 red cards, 3 suspensions, but it shows like a red card, right? So I had to change my formation. Then I lost against your team, Jack. Nothing.
I did not think it was going to come to that. I remember messaging you at the start of the season when I realised we're in the same league. So I was like, maybe we should wait till after the season to have me on a pod, just to, in case things play out. And I'm going to be honest, I have to respect the fact you've invited me back on, because the worst case scenario did happen. Obviously the misfortunes of the suspensions. And your fate went from, it was still in your own hand after me, so it's not entirely my fault.
No, exactly. And also in the past, I really threw it away, because in the last 5 matches, I think there was 3 draws, 1 win, and 1 loss against you. And then I drew that final game, which meant I just gave the title to the other team. I threw it away pretty much. Then in the playoff, I also lost a second playoff match. But now in an hour, I have 2 hours, I think. I have my third match, third place playoff against the 9th one. So maybe I'm still promoting, but that was a bit of misfortune. But
I would quite like your team to get promoted, because they're a bit scary in our current bronze division.
Yeah, they are a bit. They were stacked for the purpose to promote. So if they don't promote, I am very. That's going to be very sad. But let's come back to you. Any updates from your match?
2-0 up, 3-0 up, 5 minutes left. It's like Gillette Soccer Saturday. It's done. It's done. Game over. We're awesome. Good.
It's in the back. So congrats. Great moment of the week. It worked out, your plan. You didn't
I'll tell you what, if it hadn't worked out, that would have been incredibly awkward. So
yes.
I'm just going to say as well, Calva, that on Monday during the stream, Jack came in and humble bragged about the 2.
I think I was encouraged by Palmer. He's a bad influence, so...
Yeah, he was getting worried he wasn't going to get an invite or wasn't going to be on the pod this Sunday. But I said, I said, I absolutely love it. It's something to talk about. We love seeing a stack team get humbled.
I take full responsibility. I'm not. It's I messed up, and I should have scored way more points in those other matches. So that's how it works. That's football, right? That's how it is. Okay, dev update time. So we have a couple of good updates, I think. The engine, so the team has deployed a patch to the experimental engine earlier this week. It addressed some of the major issues, several issues. So the goalkeeper behavior again, and improved engine metrics. Of course, the team is continuing to monitor and analyze this version, and it should be good for next season. And later on in this episode, we'll discuss the new engine. They did mention a couple of things that should be better. So we're going to talk about that. Then another big thing is the marketplace offers. There is final testing, and they also announced this for Season 6, that the marketplace offers should be released in Season 6. Also something we're going to discuss later. The new reward packs, same thing. So the team has worked on implementing that, new reward packs where you only have a difference of 5. So for example, 80 to 84 or 75 to 79. So a bit more... less dependent on risk with your pools. So also we're gonna discuss that later in the episode. Then the photorealistic project, the AI guys, still focusing on that, and they make good progress. And finally, some back office improvements that make life easier for the developers. So that's also good. So yeah, about the first three, we're going to discuss later. We're going to discuss that later. So let me ask you then, Jack, about the AI guys. Football Manager is famous for having very weird regens, and you're like, how can FM, have such bad regens and photos and like. So what is your take on having
this is the thing that everyone has
guys?
an opinion on and no one agrees on, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's tricky, right? Because I don't find the current art like that egregious. But I've played the MFL on stream to my audience, which is very much a Football Manager based audience. And just in a sphere outside of MFL and kind of, more general public stuff, people hear words like Metaverse and NFT and they think of JPEGs. So then when the first thing they see in game is the pictures as they are, which, they look great, they're unique, they're stylized, but they are mass generated. I think it can be an immediate turn off for people. I guess the risk in changing the art style is you've already built up a core of an audience that play the game already that like the current art style and aren't put off by that. And are you chasing an audience that isn't there by changing stuff? Part of me feels like in an ideal world there'd be some kind of toggle, so you can just choose which you want, but then maintaining two versions of every single player's face, depending on how it works, potentially a lot of work. I think the way I fall on at the moment is we really don't know enough to actually have an opinion on is it going to be a good or bad thing, and like how are they going to look. So I play Football Manager, and in game when real players retire, you get these fake players come through. And they have like these horrible plasticine-y faces that just look horrific. Like they look like from a video game 15 years ago. And I use mods that basically swap out those faces for pre-generated AI faces that kind of match the ethnicity and hairstyle of those players because it's so distracting. So for me, kind of seeing photorealistic AI people probably wouldn't be a turn-off because it's familiar. But at the same time, I kind of wish with this whole thing the guys over at MFL would maybe show rather than tell. Like for the last 4 dev updates, it's just things are continuing at pace. The secret project is happening. And it's like they've asked ChatGPT, can you say the same line 10 different ways? And they've got it scheduled for every week, like different ways of phrasing the same thing. I'd love them to come out and make this is probably something they may be saving for the meetup event. And maybe they'll put out a post nearer that time where they go, hey, like, here's what it's actually going to look like. Let us know what you think. Because I think it is the kind of thing where everyone in the community is going to have an opinion on it. And maybe testing the temperature of the water and kind of what feedback is like before you overinvest resources into kind of changing something that maybe won't be received well is like a good way to approach it. I do find it a bit weird just because the guys are so transparent about so much development related with MFL, but this kind of thing is I kind of get when it was labeled the secret project, but at this point it's like, can we see some side by sides? Because I think the longer the discussion goes on in the community around it without actually seeing what it's officially going to look like, you see people posting their ChatGPT side by side of the card and then the photorealistic version. I think it'd be good just to kind of unmuddy that conversation. If it's like, here's what they're looking like at the moment, what do you guys think? And the risk with that, I suppose, is you open it up to like thousands of different opinions and no one agrees on anything. But I think at least then it gives people kind of time to mentally and emotionally prepare themselves for whatever change might be coming.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, that we should see something. I think there has been like in the white paper or like on the MFL page or Medium, there is a bit of an image like that, like something you could imagine. But yeah, we have not seen anything really.
No,
to really decide, and we need to have a sample. Yeah, I agree, to get used to it, to say goodbye slowly to those pictures.
Imagine if one day you just log on and it's just all they've all changed.
Thanos fingers click and it's changed suddenly. Like, is this an April Fool's? Why is the whole everything changed?
It's like cold turkey. Yeah. And I think they want it takes maybe time because they want to couple it with a new UI so that you have kind of.
I do wonder if they'll change the design of the cards a little bit.
Yeah. It's a big mystery, the secret project.
I think also as well, AI in like its development, especially image generation, is rapidly developing at such like a crazy pace. I think the secret project was a massive secret for what 16 months. Any people who knew the MFL team, the captains, and then Calva as well. He's basically a captain, but he's just not got the Discord role,
captain.
so he's not a verified captain. But we got shown some examples then, but that was back in September 2023, like October 2023. And if you look at, say, what Midjourney or ChatGPT or any other sort of AI model can do now with images, even videos, these last couple of weeks, it's quite scary. It's stupidly scary. Like, I'm getting actually kind of a bit anxious about it now. It's worrying. So it would be good to see some examples. And I know that in the past, Jack, when they've been developing out the engine or maybe like the 2D effect for the matches, they were showing us like screenshots or videos from their sort of like development infrastructure and showing us this is what we're currently working on with the 2D view, so you can see what that's like. Maybe for these AI photorealistic cards and players, we can get a little bit of sort of take a page from that book and see what they're cooking. See what they're cooking in that.
I hope they're like cooking and not burning it. There's like. I think sometimes so I used to work in game development, you can kind of work on something in isolation too much. And it's not until you get kind of a wider opinion that you can kind of actually gauge if you're onto something or not. But at the moment, I just, every view in MFL where I don't have to look at the player faces, I'm on that list view. Like, that's the inner Football Manager player in me. I don't need the pretty pictures. I just need the names and the colours of the rarity and the number.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how this goes. I just to say one thing. You saw this emotional support kangaroo photo, or not?
Oh, I didn't see it.
No, someone posted this like, I just got like rejected from this flight. They didn't allow my like emotional support kangaroo, and that was also AI. But then people already got crazy. Like, should you allow kangaroos being? And he was like holding the boarding pass. That was really cute. So AI can do anything. And then there's videos. That was really crazy. It's like stand-up comedian, right? Like, what the hell?
There are some scary videos.
I had one of my Insta reels recently where it was a cat squeezing under a door, and you're sat thinking, how's that cat squeezing under the door? And then he starts griddying, and it's just all of an AI generated whole video. Like, I was like, I've just been done it. I was sat thinking, wow, this is amazing. This cat squeezing under a door to its own. It just starts griddying. Ruin the internet.
It's
It
nuts.
starts doing the L darts in front of you. Like, you've just been baited out.
But yeah, like maybe in 1-2 years we can literally toss one of those pictures into VO, and then you can say make him, score this amazing goal, cross from the side, overhead kick, whatever. It could pump that out, something like that, or a match summary maybe. So 1-2 years, sky's the limit. I think. Let's see where that goes. Time for the diamond updates. How are things going? So, Meta Mercenaries had an amazing season.
They big time cooked.
Crazy season.
I'm shocked you guys don't just pre-record this every week and just congratulate Ronan and just stick it in as a pre-recorded segment.
It would be right 90% of the time.
I think, we don't have to talk a lot about Meta Mercenaries. Just big shout out. Congrats to Ronan. Also, amazing logo, right? Designed by you.
Great logo.
So great
that's
logo.
The team.
maybe that's what that's made them perform even better with this amazing logo.
Does he give you a percentage rev share? Was that what the exchange was?
He? I want one for BFC Barcelona as well for their badge too.
That should be the.
If I make a badge for a team, they do well. So
Yeah, that should
maybe
be
some
the
royalties.
payment. If
MFL royalties. Maybe we can make that happen. But let's just roll in. Amazing season. He only lost one game and he drew 2 games and 19 wins. So that's crazy. So then let's look at the mortals. Bicione Milano, second place, 43. DFC Amsterdam Lions 41, 3X 41, OM Legends 40. That's kind of the fight for second place. So Scrub won that. Congrats. Then we have a big of mid-table, Jogo Bonito, Club Atletico Tango. And Roma did a nice run to escape the relegation zone. 28 points, 8 spots. The relegation zone, Naples Goldfeathers lost the last 5 games. Very rough end to their season, 24 points. Atletico, Samba, and Diamond Heists, they relegated to Platinum. Atletico did a good run, but then messed it up in the end with 2 losses and a draw. There was a very short summary. Any reactions, Jimbo, to that?
I think when we said last week, you asked the question to me. You said, Jimbo, who's gonna escape? Who's not gonna get relegated? And I said, or he said, who's gonna get relegated or that 9th spot? I went, I know who's not gonna be in that 9th spot, and it's gonna be Fraj's MFC Roma. Fraj listened and immediately added me in Discord and said, why have you said this? You've now given me the WenDirk curse. Yeah. Why have you supporting my team? But fortunately, on that Monday stream, his team won, and he was like, oh, thank you, Jimbo. I've always believed that your support would mean we'd get out of, escaping relegation. But, I think that bottom 3 was kind of set for a long time.
The Naples Gold Feathers is interesting. Like they started pretty well, and then Hertha also had a bit of kind of a rage quit, kind of I'm selling everything. He has this, I think, multiple times per.
Oh yes. He
has this. I'm gonna sell everyone. But yeah, after he also really performed very bad, like the worst kind of record together with Diamond Heist in the last 5 matches, lost 5. So I don't know if that is he cursed himself or he gave up or what happened, but he kind of threw it away.
One of my predictions was that Diamond Heist would at least get a point, and obviously that went shockingly.
Did they score a goal after like the first 5 games?
I
remember early on seeing a couple of goals, thinking, are they going to get to 5 for the year? Every time I checked, it's just stuck on 3.
Yeah,
no 3. They stuck.
I think 2 of them might have been in the same game as well, so it's sort of all being condensed into a couple matches. But yeah, they'll be God.
Well, more about Diamond Heist later, and like similar Diamond Heist projects, if they are gonna be Diamond Heist or not. About the promotion relegation, so that is interesting. So promoted BFC Barcelona is back, very dominant.
Good to be back.
Season in Plat. For Ryan's MFC is also back, and Mitad del Mundo, which was Quito Gold Feather, so another logo you design. I hope they're going to keep
team
it.
Gets promoted and they have a new logo design. It's
and later we'll talk about the new owner. So the team can get promoted because Ronin got rid of it. So they will be there too. Relegated, we said Atletico, Samba, and Diamond Heist. And now when we're recording it Sunday, and in 3 hours there will be the big game. Who gets the final spot in Diamond between Naples Gold Feathers we just mentioned and Basel MFC? They can also return to Diamond. Any predictions about that or reactions?
I'm glad that BFC Barcelona's back. More so because obviously the Dow and those great guys over there, but also the fact that I think a lot of platinum teams will probably be grateful that BFC Barcelona's gone straight back up, because that BFC Barcelona side is diamond quality. It's like diamond mid-table quality.
Stacked.
When you're coming up against like Turto and other players who are ultimates 97 rated, and you're there sort of mid to low end of platinum going, please help. It's not fun. So I think they're glad that BFC Barcelona have gone straight back up.
Yeah, that's great. And then the thing we didn't talk about is the cup. Joga Benito won 2-1.
Oh, yeah.
He beat DFC Amsterdam Lions, Dio's team, 2-1. So did Sturge win or not? More about that later, because we don't want to spoil it. But I'm just wondering, Jack, we always ask this to everyone, like, are you kind of following it? Is it fun to follow? Do you support someone?
I feel like I have half an eye on it. So, like, I have a small stake in the DAO, so I kind of keep an eye on those teams especially. But I think because I'm know a couple of the guys who compete in Diamond, it's kind of interesting seeing what they're doing. To be honest, often what I'm doing is I'm looking at their games to see what formations and tactics people are using against what. Bit of kind of sniping, whether or not it's useful and applicable to my teams. But I think that in a kind of football manager player me wants to kind of see what people are doing and try and work out why they're doing it and why it's either not or is working. So I kind of look at it like that. I'm just still in their homework, really.
Yeah. And the question about Diamond League, we also about your ambitions. I want to ask about ambitions, but we'll keep that for later too. So let's move on to the market moves. And yeah, as I said before, not 50 new names. We have another promo, so probably a lot of people gonna join again. But I pick one person as new manager of the week, kind of a mini spotlight. And I picked Root Course. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. Root Course, probably.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's also kind of a big Twitter account, fantasy football addict. He calls himself. He is active on Sorare, also FPL. He also plays a lot of FM. So kind of, the games we all play or know. And he now recently, like 2 days ago, became an MFL club owner. He's going to start playing MFL. He was helped a lot by McBride Ace. And he also watched Quinny's MFL intro guide videos. So he's definitely ready to get started. He has a new club in Spark called the Rum Lads. Good name. The logo does have a tiger. So for me, that's not a special animal. But it's better than a lion. So it's not a lion. So we are happy with that. It's a tiger. Then about some transfers. A lot happened. So let me talk about a couple of legendary player transfers. And then some clubs before we move on to the splash of the week. So Edison Kinde, that is a legendary player, but actually tomorrow he's going to retire. He played his last MFL game, and he was still listed for $50 by Orangefly. Cosmo then thought, that's kind of a cheap legendary, and he bought it, but he didn't realize he's pretty much retired already. So he wrote it in general, and then Orangefly was so nice that he bought him back. So I think shout out to Orangefly, what a great move. I think he also just delisted him. I think he's just gonna let him retire. But it does, it kind of pose a question. What would be kind of a realistic price that someone would still buy him just to have that card? Because also maybe in the future we'll have like teams of legends, your agency legends, your best retired players playing against someone else's kind of veteran team. What would you pay for it? Would you still pay $1, $2, $10? Like what would you
have to pay me to buy it at his current point of utility.
No, not like $1. Like I have kind of this guy sitting in my wallet. Maybe later collector item or.
What if you want to get the role on the Discord server for having 5
players? Hello. Maybe, yeah.
Is it worth something then? If you want to look like you've got a good agency, then people click on it, just like 5 retired players. Actually, do we know if when players retire, will they still show up on your home screen, or is it going to go to black and white like they've died? And just exist there or something.
There is a like you can like hide retired players. I think there is a toggle
I think
option.
so. Yeah, you can hide them. I'm not sure if they get graded out or not.
I'd quite like that. If you go on someone's like agency, it's just their top players, just all these grayed out players, like in memory of
what used to be.
Rip kind of. But yeah, we don't know. They still have to announce if there will be some functionality for them. And I am a really big pro. Like a fan of the all, like kind of your agency all-stars. Agency all-stars, your best players ever.
Don't say all-stars to Man United fans. Woo.
Yeah.
No one gets their trip midweek where they lost to...
was it Singapore and Hong Kong? No,
but don't worry, they bounced back against Hong Kong. So
yeah.
Big win, 3-1. On the retired players thing, I want to pitch this idea to you because I've pitched it before, but never in a public setting. So, if people think it's a good idea, everyone can rally behind it. I'd like it if we had a draft mode, like that you can play in the off season, where the pool of players people draft from is just all the retired players in the game. So it's like a friendlies thing where you can set up with a few different managers, and then the pool of player can just be just retired players in the game. And like somehow that like they have a bit of utility that anyone can access.
So sort of like tournaments, a little spontaneous.
Yeah, but maybe like you actually draft teams from the retired players. Maybe you wager some MFL.
Could be a fun game out, to add.
I said the word wager. People are gonna dive in.
Well, true.
Yeah. No, but this is like kind of speaking about the future MFL. We want to have way more that you can kind of create your own, set up your own tournaments. Do the rapid plays, and then maybe just retired player games that you can wager a little bit or that you can win some MFL. That would be amazing. That there's still some utility and that you can still get some dollars, or you just keep them as your legends. So
as a new player, can you guys explain to me what were quests? Because as a new player, like you see them on a couple of bits. Is this a rabbit hole that we shouldn't delve into?
Yeah,
or like for newer people?
There's no point as new users going down the whole rabbit hole of quests. They've now been rebranded like training matches, or I've generally not made or set up my lineup for months, so I've still got legendary players on there I used to own. I've now sold, but because I've never changed the lineup, they're still in there. So this isn't Jimbo's agency. It's like, it used to be, but it's not anymore.
The quest matches are useful, I would say. For if maybe let's move on with the market moves, and I can now tell you why it's useful. No. But this is a good, transition, because this guy, we're gonna talk about someone who bought a diamond club, and he was experimenting with like kind of the group of players he would put in this diamond club, or in the gold club. I think it was a gold club. Yeah, he bought a gold club, and then he puts some players there that he would use there, but he cannot play friendlies yet because he cannot sign anyone. So then it has a bit of a function. And back in the day, the quest matches a lot. Yeah, they were there to play quest matches for amazing quests on Zealy that really could get you very nice prices. I got some like uncommon rare players from those quests. So
legendary though, right?
Yeah, one legendary from, but that was more like a wheel spin, I think. Yeah.
Oh, you got lucky on the spin. I can't take
spin, not like
again, strikes again.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that is the function of quest matches to test when you cannot sign guys, but you bought a new club, and then you can experiment with your own players, I would say. Okay. A couple other things. So legendary. So Eric Barbaric, who relegated with his Atletico Ciudad de Mexico to Plat. He plans to bounce back. So he bought Maurice Canavan, 93 left winger, 25 years old, from Ireland, for 1,450. And that is not the splash of the week. So more than 1,000 USD for a player, and he's not the splash. And then what I was talking about before, the diamond club. So multiple diamond clubs have changed hands in the past 1.5 weeks. So Greninja X-Max, he bought Quito Mercenaries for only 700 USD from Ronin. And it's a diamond club now because they won the playoff. So I would say that's a very good deal. Greninja has quite some 88 to 92 rated players, so I think he could do okay in diamond, but he definitely needs some loans to stay up. It's definitely not a new diamond heist. Then Nathan, he bought XVIX's Diamond London Club for 1,800 USD. I think first there was a bit of a discussion that he was like, XVIX was like disrespected by his offer, but then now we kind of pay that same price anyway. So in the end, he did get it for this 1,800. He has some suitable Legos, but he definitely needs some loans. So could that be the new diamond heist? We don't know. Hopefully they both get competitive teams. So some new managers and diamond, which is great to see. Fresh faces. Jimbo, speaking about
splash of the week. Now, folks, if you are avid listeners, week in, week out, you remember we spoke about this listing of a diamond club many weeks ago, and I proposed a question: was Sturgeon just putting the feelers out there by listing a diamond club for $5,000? Was he tempted? Was he looking to see any interest for his diamond club at $5,000? Well, lo and behold, folks, it sold. Gogurt, I'm guessing I'm pronouncing that name. It's like yogurt, but maybe it's Gogurt. I don't know. That's how my brain's processing it anyway. Purchased Yoga Bonito MFC from Sturge for 5,000 USD, and you're probably going, "What, 5,000 USD for a diamond club? That's absolutely mental." However, Yoga Bonito had just won the Titans Cup, which in itself brings 420,000 MFL, as well as a finish in diamond of 6th position, which I actually don't remember how much that brings in, unless anyone's got it there quickly. But I think they brought in about 1 million MFL, I think it was. I think about 1 million MFL, with a rev share of 7%. That's the only outgoing they had, 7%. So basically taking home, 900, 950k or something along those lines. So that was basically the whole reason why I purchased this club. Because is their strategy now to, well, we can talk about this later with the whole pack piece and the new overall packs coming in, how that might affect the resale value of particular packs on Floaty, but maybe it's their strategy to open load of or buy a load of X rarity packs, X scarcity packs, resales, and try and recoup that value. I have seen that it may have been taken down from the marketplace now, but it was back on the marketplace again at a particular price. I don't know if it's been taken down now. But I guess the question is to both of you chaps on here, which I don't really know the answer myself because it's probably one we'll see in the future. But is $5,000 worth it? Is half of 10,000? That's a lot of money. Is $5,000 for a team that's just won Titans, and finished 6th in Diamond? Is it worth it?
Well, I think if I go first, like he made that calculation, I think that he can get that out of there. And I just checked, he listed it again for 2,000. So that would mean if he could sell it for 2,000, he has still 3K to kind of at least get back with pack sales or player sales.
But how's it going to sell for 2K if that other one that just got promoted sold for 700?
I think Ronan was just a bit like not thrown off or didn't care. Or maybe there's some other deal involved with a player.
It could be. I think also Ronan wanted to.
But the other one was 1,800.
I was 1,800. True.
So maybe. Oh, by the way, the London is now listed for 2,500. So maybe he wants to resell.
Okay, wow.
But I think you could definitely short term recoup it. I think in the long term you can definitely recoup it. The value with your packs and with progression and with getting tons of players or selling those packs on floaty. So I think you could recoup it, but it's quite a big gamble.
It's going to be really interesting, is it, with the common packs? Because they were pretty. Well, they went up in price pretty quickly, like throughout preseason, because there was a demand for them. I do wonder if there's going to be a lot of people for whom season 5 was their first season. They maybe had a team largely made up of common players, and they're now kind of targeting those low end limited players as kind of the next logical progression. So maybe demand of those common packs is going to go down. Obviously, the new reward packs as well. Like, you can do basic calculations based off what packs we're going for on floaty, in relation to the MFL earnings. But actually, I think the market's going to be maybe a bit weird this preseason, not just with the packs, with the new reward packs, but also, are we going to see a change in how people approach selling players as well, with kind of the new offers? I think it's a weird time of MFL to kind of be able to, I think, put a valuation on things just because the market's kind of evolving in this, what feels like, at least to me as someone coming in from a season and a half ago, it's a bit unprecedented. I know there's been like similar little bumps in players before, but I think it's going to be interesting to see, what is the average strength of a Spark team this year, kind of this coming season versus season 5. Are we going to see people trying to take that next step up? It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a bit like a water bet, I think. So, last time it was like everyone was trying to buy the common packs and sell them, and there was a big demand for that. So I think, that kind of pushed the price up. But now everyone might think this is a smart way to go, and that can be a massive oversupply of common reward packs and not enough, maybe limited or special limited or common reward packs that people now want, as you say, Jack, that they want now for Spark. They want to get higher players. So it will be super interesting, because if everyone says, the meta is buying common player reward packs, and now no one wants them anymore because everyone got more ambitious and has bigger budgets to spend, it might drive up other prices. So we'll see.
I just quickly did like, how many common player packs could you get for 900,000 MFL? And it's like 1,500. And if you just take, say, like $2.95 or even $3, if you resell them, that's $4,500, which is basically what, 95% of your maybe 90, whatever the mass is. Do that on a Sunday to get me the exact percentage out for you guys, but it's near enough that. And if you can get 95% of your value back from one pre-season or one mid-season, then I think it's a great purchase. But yeah, I'm totally interested by how this pre-season is going to be with packs and players. I always am. I was going, this was unprecedented this season. It's going to be better than the last. But then every season I'm telling to myself and everyone else, I'm really interested how the market will react this season. And I'm saying that every single season. And it changes every time, which is great. But for some people, we like to have a little bit of predictability. And so we can try and prepare for things. But, that's where some of the fun is at.
Yeah. And we also kind of create this whole reality by saying, you have to buy reward packs and sell them on floaty. And then everyone starts doing that. And then,
I'll be ripping mine.
Great. Good.
Well, you got, was it mid-season?
Mate, I've had some ridiculous luck with. I don't know if we should discuss it because I feel dirty celebrating it.
You know why? Content creator luck.
Yeah. Well, the worst thing is I didn't record any of the packs I've opened, which in retrospect was stupid because I've had a couple of legendaries. They got a 90 rated goalie in the mid-season drop, which was just stupid.
Yeah, crazy.
What pack was that from? A rare?
That was a rare pack, but it was off the common roll or the uncommon roll, like the lowest one of. So there was still a rare card that was 84 in it as well. So basically,
wow,
2 Legos in one, which is kind of wild.
Wow, that's sick. Yeah, that's really sick.
And then,
but this also builds, like you now feel, I love packs. I have luck.
I love
and other people say I don't want to have that risk and sell it on floaty. So that also, shapes the market a little bit. Ripping or not selling, or do you want to risk? Well, will be interesting. Let's discuss it later with the new reward packs with a bit less risk. Will that change things? Will it change prices? Maybe super quick IRL MFL. I think I should apologize to Matt for having no faith in PSA. They were absolutely amazing. Winning the championship 5-0, absolutely destroying Inter. So they ruined them. I was very wrong with that prediction.
I think this is really the only thing we can talk about for IRL. They just absolutely destroyed Inter last night. But it's funny looking on Twitter afterwards. The Super Cup is Champions League versus Europa League, and it's going to be PSG versus Tottenham, and that's going to be a fun old matchup.
Thing is, because of how football works, Tottenham will probably win that 2-0.
Yeah.
Bad match engine for the start of the next season. No one's got used to it.
Yeah. PSG will rest players for the season or something like that,
But also, what I do like, kind of the IRL MFL lesson from this is that sometimes not having superstars is better, just having very good players, but kind of similar level playing team, knowing their roles, instead of a Messi or Neymar or Mbappe, and then there's no chemistry, or they don't, help with the pressing, or they don't help defending, And now, the team won, I think also. PSG was an amazing team. They knew what they were doing.
Oh, it deserved
and Luis Enrique really, you have this famous video of telling Mbappe to, how to press, and he finally got all those guys to do that, and it worked. So that's a good lesson.
No iron team.
And then maybe one little thing from the Dutch league, what just happened is that Telstar. Do you know Telstar?
I do, indeed.
They just got promoted after 47 years to the Eredivisie. So 47 years the fans waited. Now I think they get relegated straight back, but it's nice.
That's the spirit. You're really picking them up there.
Yeah. No, they have no budget, so. But it's fun. You can win promotion being,
Do you get parachute payments in the Dutch leagues?
No. No, that doesn't. And the TV money is.
As a Norwich fan, I'm just wondering. Do you get parachute payments?
Then maybe the biggest moment is the beer top 3. Jack, I don't know if you like to drink a beer.
I'm not. I'll be honest. I'm not the biggest beer connoisseur. I say that having just eaten drank Guinness cake.
Have you drink Guinness cake or you ate Guinness cake?
Yeah, so that I mean that's as close as we'll get with me.
Okay.
Give me a chocolate cake with alcohol in and we're golden.
Well, let me tell you the top 3, and then you can add or kick out.
Oh, okay. Can I just derail it on purpose, or is that
you feel free?
But you can't pick Guinness though. That's the one thing.
Has Guinness already got it?
Because Guinness has been picked and been removed, therefore it gets eliminated from the pool.
Can Guinness cake, is that...
Well, we do have a non-alcoholic beer on the third spot from Bar King LMP.
Can't chuck a cake in there instead.
So maybe... I would say we might as well non-alcoholic beer or a cake. We might as well replace instead of cake. The second place is Orval, the Belgian beer monk, still going strong. Alexis put it there. And the first, we have a new number 1 since the last time. Pacifico.
I tried that last week, actually.
Really?
When I was down in Brighton, in the hotel bar, sort of lean over the bar and look what have they got in the fridges. And I went, hang on, that's what led was. That's the number 1 in the WenDirk beer top 3. That drink down there. That's how I said to the person behind the bar, "Can I get the WenDirk current number 1 place in the beer top 3?" And I had that. And then went other places. It just, I think, Laird describes it as sort of like a Corona or like a Sol or Desperado, and it does taste like that. Okay. Yeah. One for not having inside a hotel bar on an evening on a Saturday. It's probably one for being outside with your mates or after a game of football or something like that, or on the beach somewhere. But it was I liked it. I rather liked the drink.
It was good.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
No, I've actually formed the beer that I want to add in that is actually a beer. So.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, okay. So which one and which spots?
We'll put it in at 3, because I've not tried the top dog, so I feel like it'd be rude for me to just barge in. But we'll go with a Whitstable Bay Pale Ale. I don't know if you guys have had it. Had a lovely trip to the Kent coast recently, and it's pretty good.
So is it vegetable? Was that it?
No, it's Whitstable
It was like
Pale Ale. It's like it's not very bitter and not very sweet. It's just quite refreshing. Okay. But it was overpriced.
I'll let Jimbo write that. But
I'll type that one in the document.
Okay, you type that one down.
Type in vegetable instead of
vegetable.
I know how to spell it.
It was bad actually. I went to Whitstable with my missus and I got 2 drinks and it was like £20. I sat there thinking, what could this have got me in MFL? It's like my brain's now working in MFL,
Well, I like vegetables, right? That's the old after the chocolate top 3 we had in previous season. So I think that's why I heard vegetable.
Whitstable.
We'll write it down. Thank you for.
I thought it was like Cornwall, where I thought it was because I know Barnstable's down that way. Like I think Barnstable's like Dorset maybe, and I was like, maybe it's got the stubble bit to it, but I know it's not a vegetable, but yeah,
it's not. No.
What vegetable would it be? No, we won't go there.
Let's move on to the main segment. Well, we already had a great time discussing the updates and everything else. So, Jack, as always, the question: what's your MFL story? How did you first find out about MFL, and why did you join?
I feel like my question it's like a bit of a boring answer, actually. Mine. So I was just streaming Football Manager, and so I just wrote, "Have you heard of MFL?" And I don't know who it was. They didn't put their affiliate link in the chat, so they weren't clearly blatantly advertising. And I was just streaming Football Manager, and I thought, sounds interesting. I'll check it out on my own time. And like a day or 2 later, I was like, what was it? Was that NFL but with an M? And you're searching for it on Google, it's like, do you mean the NFL? I'm like, no, it's definitely MFL. And I kind of went on the website and thought, this is definitely a bit of me. This is dangerous. It's like one of those moments in your life when you go, I can click away and just pretend this doesn't exist. Yeah. Or I can get lost in the source. And I got lost in the source very, very quick. I sat there reading the white paper and then bought two like Spark kind of licenses because it was halfway through season 4. It was like before the Redemption Cup was like still on sign up. So it's a bit of probably one of the worst times for you to kind of decide to really get into the game where like the season had not long started. But at the same time, it basically gave me 3 or 4 weeks just to like digest as much as possible, kind of coming with my background from Football Manager. I was like, this just feels all very, very familiar, I guess.
Yeah. So we have an anonymous hero who kind of...
Yeah, I literally don't know. I wish I could tell you. The worst thing is I didn't use anyone's affiliate link. I could have got a free common player, couldn't I? Yeah. So missed out.
That's very, very generous of this guy. Just say, do you know MFL? No,
well, the links are banned in my chat, so maybe he actually put his link after. It just got erased from existence. He tried.
That could have been. But anyway, whoever this is, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I think we're very familiar with that feeling that you find out and you get super excited, read the white paper, buy clubs. But I think maybe it's like a blessing in disguise that you were halfway through the season, right? That you got that time.
But to be honest, it gave me so much time to learn stuff. Like I remember I DM'd you after I packed like an 86 rated player in one of my opening packs. I was like, I think this is quite good, but I don't really understand how good it is. Please help. Because I'd like looked at videos and your videos have been some of the first that came up. So I was like, this guy must know like something about the game. And I was also kind of conscious of the fact that with a game like this, there will be like people who look to take advantage of like less informed players.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, if this guy scams me, if he offers me £100 and I take it, turns out he's worth more, I'll just cuck him. But in the end, you were really good at your offering advice. And I remember I read the white paper load. Then for the Dow BFC, one of their teams needed a centre defensive mid. So suddenly I was in the BFC Discord server. So suddenly I found myself within a week of starting the game, not having played a game, but just being surrounded by people constantly talking about the game.
Right in amongst it, in the deep end,
yeah,
basically.
And so I feel like I probably picked up stuff very, very quickly. And if I had questions, I could get answers for them. And kind of going into the season, suddenly I had 4 Spark teams, a bronze team, and 200 players in my agency, and I hadn't started a season. So I'll let you decide if that's a good or a bad way to approach the game. But I learned a lot in the last 6 weeks.
Escalated quickly, but that's great to hear.
Little
bit, yeah. Yeah, so let's talk about that season. Kind of, how was your first full MFL season?
Oh, it was so frustrating. So I had a bronze team that I bought off Dionysius. Very kind of him to give up the team because I've been eyeing it up, and I'd kind of made a deal with him because they were in danger of being relegated. I said, if you keep them up, I'll buy them at one price, and if they get relegated, I'll buy them at another. And he was like, yeah, you're on. He's like, I've never done this before. So it was quite fun. Like, I had nothing to play for at the end of the year. It's like, right, am I going to save money or am I going to be paying more money for this team? Which is quite a weird way of watching the end of the season play out. And so I picked up a team in bronze. I picked up a load of teams in Spark as well because I'd played the game on stream, so I'd referred quite a lot of people. So I suddenly had hit all the 30 referral tiers. I was like, I just have all these common players. We should stick them in a team. So I had one team that I've actually sold already, which was just like the dumping ground for all the players that I was like, no one else is going to want these. We'll just see if they can win a game and enjoy it. But I had so much fun. First season, there was frustrating moments. So I think in the first 8 games, my team in bronze drew 7. And 1-1, it was really bad. In fact, I think the first game I lost was to you, Calva, and even then I was the first person to score against you. And the worst thing was I was playing a 3-5-2B primarily, and I've got Jimbo going, yeah, it's rubbish for my team. It's rubbish for my team. I'm just drawing every game. Maybe it's just bad. And to be fair, I'd always planned to rotate between I think I played 7 different formations this year, which I don't know if that's the right or wrong way to play. I'm sure we'll discuss that in a little bit. But in the end, they only had 10 draws across the season and 9 wins. But it was a bit annoying watching you, Calva, and then the Vikings, who finished top both with 3 defeats. And I also had 3 defeats. I just had 10 draws as well. That really derailed things. And also, I didn't win against the team who were bottom twice. And they're like a dead team as well in our division. So lots of learnings. But at the same time, I loved every minute of it.
Awesome. Amazing season then, you could say. Frustrating, but super...
Yeah,
so many lessons
it was weird. So with the Spark teams, I had one that was my dumping ground, and then 3 that I was like, I kind of want to get these new locations promoted up, and there's something quite nice about having, clubs that have no history that maybe you can climb up. So I got a Beijing license. I thought it'd be pretty cool if I have a Tokyo team and a Beijing team, and they're kind of the 2 that I try and get as high as I can in my agency. But naturally, when you end up with 3 pretty heavily stacked Spark teams, there's this extra pressure on you. It's I really don't want to get stuck in Spark, and you're going to look like a bit of a dingus if you don't go up. And obviously, it's easier to underperform than overperform when you're predicted to finish top 3 with all 3 teams. But in the end, they've all gone up, and I sold the team of rubbish, and I've just bought a team that relegated to Iron. So I think I've realised 5 teams is a good number for now. I'll probably own 7 teams by the time the season kicks off in a week, because that's what will happen. But at least for now, I feel like I've know my limits of MFL.
Calva, you've got 5 now, haven't you?
Yeah. I went from 8
You've come
to
down
5.
a bit. You've come down a bit.
Yeah, I was still wondering if they promote Black Sea, should I punish them and sell them? And then maybe, but because I want to promote my hometown, I have 3 kind of places where I lived the longest in my life, and I want to promote them to as high as possible. But then I have to kind of carefully get those other ones down the relegation or sell them. We'll see how that goes. Anyway. Speaking about season 6, I don't really know what I'm gonna do, but you have 5 teams now, Jack. So what would be your plan or your main goals?
Oh, I've been sat on MFL assistant, planning out how each team's going into all the different agencies, trying to get it all in order. So I've got my bronze team. Like I said, I lost 3 games in 22, which when you say it like that, that sounds great, but then just drew too many. Ideally, I'd like to see them kind of pushing for playoffs, I think, next year. In terms of the other teams, so I've got 3 teams now that'll be in ICE officially. And then the Iron team is basically just a developmental team where I had there's such a big gap between all these Spark teams I had and then this bronze team that had a lot of players who kind of fell into this awkward bracket where it's kind of needed a stone or iron level team, which, to be honest, I don't really have a long-term plan for them. It's more a case of hopefully that I have players that go into this team in iron, and then as my lower teams promote up, I'll just move on that team, and I'll have players that are ready to just make that step across. And then as for the teams in ICE, I want to get the Singapore-based and Beijing-based teams just promoted again. It's the new locations. I think it's pretty cool to try and get them up the pyramid quickly. I'm expecting it to be harder because I think most Spark teams had 1 or 2 runaway teams, and they're kind of all converging now into the ice divisions. So it's going to be a bit luck of the draw, perhaps, as to like what the strengths levels looking like there. I've got a few players that like I signed mid-season that I was like, right, these are going to be perfect for season 6. I don't know if that's like a common thing you guys do with MFL, where I'm finding myself scouring the marketplace for players that are like, I just need these in the future. I'll just get them now and it'll be fine. And there's one guy who I picked up called Dinker, who's a 63 rated right midfielder, but he's also a 74 rated striker, and he's only 20.
We love those cards.
He had a +3 this year as well. So I'm like, he is my golden child. Hopefully he will climb forever with the rest of the team, or I'll get really, really cross with him and annoyed. But he's got like 88 pace and over 80 shooting whilst being 63 rated at right mid. So he's just
those are the best.
Hopefully he does well. Otherwise, I'll just sell him in a fit of rage.
So it seems also like you usually, or like you mostly use your own players, right? You don't do many loans.
Yeah. So I've got I have been trimming down my agency. So because I sold the team full of common players that I just didn't really rate, it's like, right, list them all for $2, get them all gone, like mostly. So I'm trying to trim it down a little bit. I think there's this idea that a lot of new players have when they come to MFL, and I see it in some of my like viewers. We have like a Discord channel on my WorkTheSpace server, which is mostly Football Manager stuff, but there's an MFL channel, and people come in with this idealistic idea that every single sub 20-year-old 50 rated player you're going to get is one day going to be a rare player, and that's just it's just not how it works. And I've kind of just come to the conclusion, it's like, if you've not got a +3 this year and you're below 55 rated, just get out the agency kind of thing. But yeah, in general, I like to use all my own players. Like, there's a few positions where I've had gaps, and there's been a few times where I'll have really exciting young players or players that I pick up that I just can't give game time to. So one of the things I found really useful through my networking of doing badges for teams, but also then being part of the DAO, is there's so many people to work with and just almost do straight swap loans. So there's been times where I can like loan out a player where I just know I can't play them, but I'm able to get in a really good fit that can kind of, do what I need them to do.
Yeah, I think that emphasizes how important networking is within MFL. I think for the last maybe 2 or 3 seasons, a number of the guys, I say guys in the DAO, but I knew them outside the DAO anyway, but that's where we communicate within there, in their like free agency channel. And I think, Palmer, Dio, they'll always say, I'll pop in, I need a CDM and a left mid, and suddenly, or they'll post a big screenshot of, here's all my leftover players, I don't need them. I'm like, you don't need an HD rated player, or you'll happily come to my side. I'll take your trash and I'll make them my star player and give them 15, 20 games or so. So I think it highlights the importance of networking.
It has been one of my favourite parts of MFL, has been the networking, even with people who in the last week have been messaging me like, hey, I loaned this guy off you, will you loan him to me again? And at the moment, because I've just bought this new team that are going to compete in Iron, it's like, well, I don't know who's going to stay or go. But it's like, I tell these people, like, you'll have first priority if I'm not using that player. And I think coming from a world where I play a lot of Football Manager and I'm good at playing Football Manager, it's quite a fun skill set that I think you need to have playing MFL, actually, is like the ability to network, negotiate, build a rapport with people. Like, it's a really, really valuable thing that kind of differentiates MFL from other games. And I think it's probably going to become even more important with like transfer offers now, and how that might, you don't want to take the mick with someone because they're probably going to remember it, blacklist you from ever loading players and stuff. It's my favorite part of the game, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, like, do you think that compared to FM, this is one of the unique selling points, that all managers are real, right? All managers.
I think it is. There's times I remember I was streaming Football Manager today, and like 10 minutes before, I was trying to negotiate some loans and some transfer stuff. It's like this feels like I'm actually playing a real Football Management off season. And like, I've had a fortunate opportunity to like play Football Manager in some really, really cool settings. Like I've done created draft mode tournaments like at like venues and at events. Earlier on this year, FIFA like have an esports division, and then they did a Football Manager World Cup, which is the thing that you guys alluded to that I played at. So I've like played Football Manager at like the highest level, and probably the most hardcore Football Manager kind of style of play, where you're doing real life press conferences on a big stage, and there's John Terry stood over your shoulder watching you play, and like really intense things. Crazy. But in a weird way, MFL kind of makes you feel more like a Football Manager than I think Football Manager ever will be able to, because the stakes involved, because it plays out in real time. Like, you have time to weigh up transfer decisions or tactical stuff. Like, there's been so many times where I'll change my formation like 3 or 4 times, like in the 24 hours before a game, because I am someone who loves to tinker. Like, that is just kind of my bread and butter, I suppose. Like, I love football management games. So I feel like in terms of squad building and tactics and kind of studying what works against what and how people are approaching the game, like, kind of gives me a weird, maybe slightly different perspectives to someone who comes into MFL without kind of maybe the background in football management games that I have over 20 years.
Tinkering with tactics, something that I fall victim to, especially towards the latter stages of the season, like the playoffs, where the stakes are really, really high. Even on stream on Wednesday, where, you know, my game's at 9:25, we're watching someone's game at 1:15. Half my other screen is chat and half my other screen is the Wyverns tactics, and I'm there like watching, chatting with chat, and then actually the other half of my screen is, do I put this centre back in or not? You know, I've got that decision to make. I had to actually make a decision where I had a CDM. I have 2 CDMs because they play the 3-5-2 and then 4-1-2-1-2. So it only has 1 CDM, where I needed to play my secondary CDM to hit the minimum appearance clause, but he was, in my eyes, a bit of a downgrade. So I was like, I'm gonna just have to firm the 2%, and obviously it worked out. So I don't mind that. But it's those sort of decisions where, in the grand scheme of things, they're rather minor, but I'm here stressing out completely over them. And do you know what? I absolutely love it. You just feel so engrossed in the emotion about it all. So I'm so glad that Jack, you've sort of jumped into it really at the deep end and got on proper amongst it, and loving it as much as we are.
Yeah. Speaking about jumping in, I also had a question about the content creation side. Like, if you are, what are you considering in terms of content? Are you considering a bit more MFL content?
It's a great question, isn't it? People keep asking me this. There's like this natural assumption that I'll make content, and like, as I mentioned, I've been playing it on stream and stuff. There's part of me that kind of likes not playing stuff on stream and for videos, but at the same time, there's this nerdy part of me that really just likes talking about MFL. Like, that was the whole reason I started my YouTube channels in various different games, but then honed in on Football Manager, and I've done it for 12 years. Like, the reality is, like, whilst I've been a full-time creator now for like 5 years, the first 7 years, it was like, I remember the first month of doing YouTube, I got like a paycheck of £20. I was like, that's a pizza. It's like me as a student. And there is this natural progression. It might sound a bit weird to people who aren't content creators, but as content creation becomes your job, it does then evolve into feeling like work. And so there's always this fear that, man, if I did loads of MFL content, I'd probably really enjoy it. But then is there a point where it starts to feel like work and I don't look forward to it in the same way? So like, I have been waiting up doing content. Like, there is a WorkTheSpace MFL channel that exists. I think it's just WorkTheSpace MFL is literally the YouTube username. So I'm really inspired. I think my plan is probably for this coming year to almost do like weekly agency updates. Maybe every Monday, every Sunday, I'll sit down and kind of just discuss what's going on. And I think that'll be kind of a nice starting point. Like, the way that YouTube works, it kind of disincentivizes me uploading it alongside Football Manager, which might sound a bit weird, but essentially YouTube will tell you, we know what people want to watch. We understand there's difference in the content you put out, but if you're uploading loads and loads of Football Manager and then suddenly this new game comes out and a smaller percentage of people click it, then any subsequent Football Manager content that releases will kind of be evaluated alongside the MFL stuff. So if it has a lower click-through rate or less watch time, YouTube just thinks, well, this person isn't cool anymore and no one wants to watch their stuff. Like, I'm sure if you exist like on the internet, but especially on YouTube, you've had it where like your feed or your homepage will just like want you to be an expert in something. I remember I went through a period in COVID where I became an expert in beekeeping because there's loads of videos on bees popping up. And then one day I didn't click on a bee video and then suddenly all the bee videos went and I kind of forgot about it. And one of the nice things about doing Football Manager as content and video games that have an annual release is like there's always this natural uptick where people search for it again. But for people who maybe don't know about Football Manager is this yearly release game that was meant to move into this new engine last November, and then they cancelled the game after a 6-month delay. So there's not been a game in like 19 months or something crazy at this point.
Long time, yeah.
So it's a long time. So we're in this weird point where, as a creator, it's like everyone who's still watching the videos, please keep watching them. I just need to be able to afford rent till November, and we'll be okay, kind of thing. Nah, I jest. Like I'm fortunate to be in a situation where I have this really good core of audience, and I've been sensible, like squirreling money away. Like, if I had this foresight, not that I ever thought there wouldn't be an annual release of Football Manager, it would have burnt me a lot more, but. Like, it is just one of those things where MFL's almost come out at the best possible time for me to enjoy it and play it in my own time, because there is less pressure on me to be fully immersed and fully, like, locked into doing Football Manager content. But at the same time, it, like, almost the time of year disincentivizes me going too hard into MFL. Like, if I made the content around it, it'd be because I'm really enjoying it. And I don't know if it's apparent by me talking about it here and on this podcast. I really do enjoy talking and playing MFL, like...
Yeah, so just kind of a new channel, separate channel. I think.
There's a new channel out there. Yeah. My head right now is like, we'll do weekly videos, but it could be that I come back after 3 weeks and go, well, we lost every game and I got relegated. Sorry, there wasn't any update videos.
Another draw.
yeah, literally. I did think that. There was one point it's like, do I just start? Like, do I get a loss? It's just the drawing run is over and then we'll be fine.
I want a different color on my results page.
It was just all grey. It was very, very sad.
Yes. So, well, everyone should Google it, subscribe, I would say.
I'm now concerned I didn't get the URL right, so I'm now going to check it. But I'm pretty sure it's just WorkTheSpace MFL. That's not the right URL. What was it? No idea.
No, someone can find it.
I am a professional.
But maybe it's also nice that's kind of a super small channel now, kind of a hobby
that's
channel.
The thing. I always wanted to start as just a secret channel, because I think as soon as you tell people on a main channel, whatever, I have this other channel, go watch it. Like, there's almost this expectation to do stuff. Whereas if I just launch it as it's like the secret channel where there's just a group of people like MFL can check it out. It's just a better it's almost like I'll be making content because I enjoy it rather than because I feel obliged to do it, kind of thing.
Maybe you can call it after one of the clubs. You just call it your Tokyo.
Oh, it's Work the MFL.
Oh,
That's
MFL.
A bit better than WorkTheSpace MFL, but I don't know if people can decide if Work the MFL is better.
So, if everyone's listening, Google that, subscribe, and
there
might be some content sometimes about agencies.
Or there might not be any. So if you're watching this podcast a year in the future and there's nothing there, I'm really sorry. I let you all down.
Yeah. No pressure.
So sometimes
keep enjoying MFL.
In your streams, towards the end of them, sometimes you'll.
Well, we had an ongoing joke where I couldn't win a game when I watched a game on stream. The only time I've ever won a game on stream was when it was my two teams playing against each other in the playoffs. So I also lost that game. It was really funny. There was a game where it was a cup game and I was 2-0 up in the 88th minute, and I turned it on and then drew 2-2. But I'd literally only turned off the last 4 minutes of the game as all the goals.
You tabbed back and showed.
I said we're not doing any more of this. I'm sorry, it's never been shown on stream again.
That's the emotions. That's what we've all been there.
I was just like, I wish I could have turned on time wasting. The inner Football Manager player in me.
Can I reload? Can I go back to the start of this game? What can I change?
Well, we don't play like that. Don't out yourself. We've got him. Caught in 4K.
Oh.
Great. Time for Season 6 talk. So we already, kind of a cliffhanger that there's a couple things, new features we need to talk about, and I would like to break them down, maybe discuss how it will affect the game, impact the community, loads of things we can talk about, and the market, of course. Let's start with the marketplace offers. What do we expect of it? How will it impact the game?
It's coming. It's not beginning of the season. I think in the article it said mid-season, I believe. That's they had this graphic, right? This Season 6 graphic, and they put it there.
I've not seen the graphic, so I'm really well prepared for the pod today.
No, I think. Well, let me just quickly scan over that piece again. I think it said, for now, offers are limited to. Oh, there you go. Sorry. For now, offers are limited to players only, with club offers a little further out. This feature won't be available at the very start of Season 6, but we're looking to launch it in the first half of Season 6. So maybe by the mid-season pack drop, we have offers.
Okay.
My initial thought, I love the fact we're going to be able to do offers and not have it eliminates this whole floaty.
As a new player, that was one of the weirdest things. It's like, is this a phishing website that I've clicked on?
Sinky, yeah, phishing, yeah, and it removes all of those
worries,
you know,
scams.
what
again.
those, I don't want to say scammy, they are scammy offers, right? And people trying to take advantage of other people's, you know, lack of due diligence and so on and so forth. So it's great to have the offers on site because we want as many things like that to be on site, right? However, I think they have to be quite careful with offers where we don't want people left, right, and centre offering stupid amounts, and it just pisses people off. I think it can go that way. And,
you almost want to set like a minimum price,
yeah,
right? Or just not open to offers.
Yeah, be able to set. I imagine not open to offers will definitely be a thing. Especially I think when you read it, it says even if they're not listed on the marketplace, you can still do it. Which if a player's listed on the marketplace, you'd assume they're going to be okay for having an offer in. But suddenly, if you know you don't want to put all your players on, you know, not open for offers, and then suddenly you get spammed with loads.
Well, I don't know if this is a common thing. I've had a few times where I pack a player and suddenly I get like 10 people message me like within 48 hours of it. So I don't want to sell them.
Yeah, or suddenly, you know, we've opened packs on the stream in mid-season transfer window. I go get a drink after stream, come back, 4 contract offers already. I'm like, oh, I mean, heck, I've not even had a drink yet, and I'm getting contract offers come in for players I packed 5 minutes ago. So I think they've got to be careful with how people don't get pissed off, basically, with offers coming. I think maybe a minimum offer, similar to how the minimum cap or minimum overrules are for divisions in that sense. You know, if you're offering a diamond player, they can, not diamond player, a legendary player, they can maybe look at the last 5 sales of that overall, that age, and that. And
is there a risk if they police that too much, you start to influence market prices?
Of course, yeah, of course, there's that. But I think is something better than nothing. Well, yeah.
I think it's like the contracts and the scouting and availability that you just said. Yeah, available, not available.
I guess
to offers something.
If to make a bid, you have to have that amount in your dapper balance. Maybe that just sanity checks it anyway a little bit. Yeah. Where maybe someone's not going to be able to make an offer if they've like. I don't think anyone's loading $600 on dapper just to spam like piss take bids on legendary players.
Because imagine you'd have to.
That's fair. Maybe it's already implemented.
You have to have the balance.
Should have, yeah.
I like the idea of you going into your overdraft to make an offer on a player.
Maybe they partnered with Klarna, kind of a new sponsor.
Please
pay in installments.
I'll pay it in 5 installments.
Yeah.
That is such like a Football Manager thing, right? Like they offer like 10 installments. Like, come on, like just give me the whole stuff. But, yeah. Well, who knows? We don't know. But definitely a great new feature, and it would help a lot. Like, a lot of times you don't even know what people would give for your player, and if you see that number and you can click one button and you can get that money.
I am a little bit worried that for new, like, so I had the thing where I like packed like an 86 rated player, like in one of my first 3 packs, like the really common packs. Is there a risk that new users like get taken advantage of? Someone signs up and plays the game, and then they pack someone really good, and they get an offer of $500, but actually the player's like, ridiculously good. Is there going to be maybe some kind of cooldown where people can't make an offer on a player unless they're on the marketplace when they've just been packed? Or like, I think stuff like that's interesting because I can attest to having been a new player recently and had viewers who have become new players and friends as well who've signed up. Like, there are people who will look to take advantage of newer players.
Perhaps
that's like another thing where
perhaps in the setting. Go on, Calva.
I say you do have for revenue share, for example, when you list your guys, it kind of gives a number, like kind of you can aim for this percentage, and ICE like 2-3%. So maybe with offers coming in, it could be like, previously players have been sold for this or that, or like kind of what Alexis shows, previous sales of this overall. Maybe
it's always tricky valuing players, isn't it?
It is tricky.
When I started playing, it's like, do I trust MFL player info? Do I trust MFL assistant? And now I've kind of learn't to kind of cross-reference, look at past sales, but then kind of account for what might make a player unique. But when you're a new player, like, unless you're like me and you spend like 10 hours a day for the first week of playing the game, just learning as much as you can, kind of understanding contracts at different divisions, players' values at different ages and rarities. Like, it can feel very, very overwhelming.
I think maybe for new players, for new users, and maybe those, and then as you get new packs and new players, it could be by default those players are set to like, not open for offers, or it's like an opt-in for those new players. If any new player out of packs, you have to go in there yourself and open up offers for that player. I think maybe that eliminates that initial spam. of people trying to take advantage.
Because I think that will happen. Like that is the sad. You see it with people listing the license. Like they dress a club up to look like a license. It's one of my favorite things to see. When people list a club and it'll have like Iron License, and they've like put the image on and kind of name it all.
Yeah.
And there'll always be people like trying to pull a fast one.
Well, it's like the floaty, isn't it? I've had it numerous times before where I'm giving people who've won stuff on the streams, or whether it's the pack drop streams, just the regular watch-alongs, and I'm just going to send them the link to send the offer in, and someone just immediately within 5 seconds of them offering puts in a 1 cent offer as well. But then you can just find who that player is, and they've got their Discord linked to their profile.
Can I just send a message to those people?
Yeah, I think that.
Don't be a wang. Don't do it, please. Thank you.
There you go. That's the
Lucas, clip this into short, please.
Yeah, please. Just don't be every time someone gets outed. Just who's got that clip? Who's got that clip at WorkTheSpace? Who's got that clip?
I think we had the duck also. There'll be a duck with a particular
you can make
user
maybe a GIF out of that.
Who likes Chinese characters, and we all know.
But we're on the offers thing. It's going to be really interesting to see how that changes the marketplace. And I do think you'll see people naturally list players for more than what they think they can get, then give them scope to move down. And I do think it's going to be interesting, given the fact so much of kind of communication with managers happens off platform. Are you going to be able to include like a message when you send an offer, or reject or accept or negotiate an offer back to the other manager? Because I don't know about you guys. There's been times where, if someone has a Discord or Twitter account linked to their MFL account, happy days. I can reach out to that person, have a conversation, and maybe find a middle ground. But for people who don't have that, like just some kind of, I don't want there to be an in-game chat system in MFL. I don't need another place for people to spam me. But just if you are making or receiving offers, maybe a place where you can like just type a message.
Don't be a wang.
Yeah, but you have that. You have it for contract offers. Like you have reason why you reject.
Yeah.
Like a very tiny message. I would say, just have the same system. And
it'd be cool if you could counter offer an offer. I know I'm just adding a new feature onto a feature that's just finished. But if someone came in and said, "I want to offer that much," maybe you could bat it back and say, "This is the price I'd be happy with."
The petty counter offers. I want all your legendaries then for this rare. I think you've put a stupid offer.
You've offered 70. I want 69.99, please. Like,
but it's also kind of the football manager to negotiate, right? And then
I think that is definitely where it just stems from. It's like football manager wanted. But I do think, like I said, that's one of my favorite bits about the game, and I think having the market offers is just going to make the game feel a bit more alive in that regard.
Yeah, and it's also like in Football Manager, playing Football Manager, having that dopamine kick, like, oh, someone offered all this money for this one guy I have, and like, oh, you get excited, and having the option to then take that money. And
the thing that'll be interesting is if people delay accepting or rejecting an offer, like to try and find a replacement for like a similar price. That's going to be like maybe a slightly different dynamic. I mean, you can kind of do that now, but like kind of the notion of knowing you've got this offer sat that you can maybe take, but you maybe wait it out to see if there's an alternative out there, or like try and find your replacement target. Like it almost emulates real football a little bit more.
Yeah, luckily no agent fees. Those
That's true.
Are not part. They're MFL fees, so we happily pay MFL as their agent. Okay, I think we can talk about the next thing, which is the new engine. So in that graphic, in that visual, they wrote greater diversity in attacking situations, improved ball physics, and overall player behavior. So those 3 things they wrote down. Of course, there's a bigger blog post where you can read more details and patch notes. But what are our expectations? Of course, I think this season there's been a lot of criticism about the engine. So Jack, you have been testing, or you like to get into that, right?
Yeah, I love getting into the weeds of match engines. Like I worked as a game tester on Football Manager. It's like my first job out of university. So as part of that, I just smashed the Football Manager match engine and like tried to break it, and then kind of extending that to MFL was really kind of interesting this year. Like I was really fortunate to be able to kind of pluck the minds of some of like the more established players in MFL, like people who I did designs for and people who I just kind of naturally networked with. And kind of, I just tried to absorb as much info as possible. So I kind of had a pretty good idea going into the season. But because I kind of, the way I like to play and build my teams in Football Manager almost translated into MFL, where I do like to be able to have as much flexibility as possible. So with my bronze team across the 22 league games, I think I played 7 or 8 formations, And I really like that part of the game and kind of trying to figure out what works against what. So when I come I don't mind saying this now because it's the end of the season, but when I come up against a wide diamond, I'll always play a 4-2-3-1 with the left mid and right mid and the center attacking mid. I find that works really well to cut out the passing lanes. And there's basically quirks within the match engine that I'd spot and then try and use, and some of them would work really well. So for one of my Spark teams, I was coming up against, I think it was Scrub, who had a pretty stacked Spark team in my division, and he was playing a wide diamond. So I went to the narrow shape and then beat him 7-2, and it was only his third defeat of the year. So I really enjoy kind of that counter strategy stuff. My concern is if you become too much of an advocate of that and then loads of people start doing it, it becomes really difficult. So against you, Calva, when I was playing Black Sea, I knew that you had some suspension, so I was trying to guess what formation you'd play based on the formations that you could physically play because you had no centre defence in mid to then set up accordingly. But naturally, it's like the more teams you have, the less time you have to kind of do that stuff. So with my Spark teams, it was more of a set and forget unless it was a big game. But with the Bronze team, I did really try and change like just micro bits, like target flanks based on certain players against predicting formations and lineups. And it's tricky, I guess, to know did it or didn't it work based on the fact that I drew so many games. I guess I'd point at the fact I lost 3 games and go, well, it clearly wasn't completely disastrous and a terrible tree to bark at, but I think I probably got to hone it down from 7 formations maybe to like 3 or 4 that I rotate between. But like that was almost one of my favorite bits about the game. And there was definitely times where, I mean, when I drew my 7 of my first 8 games, I'm thinking, is this just the wrong way to play the game kind of thing? But having got like the season back on track, like it kind of makes me more keen to continue to kind of approach the game that way because it's the way I enjoyed doing it. And I think there's a certain level in MFL where you can't really build a squad to have that kind of flexibility. Like I know I chatted to Ronan quite a bit about how he approaches the games. Like just have to play the same formation with like mercenaries no matter what because I just don't have wide players and like everyone knows how you're going to set up, but it's on them to break it down. But I think kind of the bronze, silver, gold level, perhaps even like there is still scope to play the game like that. I almost feel like prior to that, it's almost less important because people are quite pretty kind of. I feel like. I can only speak to this as a relatively new player, but I feel like bronze, maybe iron is kind of the level where you kind of start to see people taking it a lot more seriously and really kind of tweaking stuff. So that was kind of my main reason to get a bronze team when I did. And I think it did allow me to, even though that was the team that didn't get promoted or do as well, I probably enjoyed managing that team the most this year.
Yeah. So, okay, Jimbo, go ahead.
Go Calva. Go Calva. You go for
no, but it's great also. Like you have a lot of people who complain about the engine, but I feel like you just kind of accept the challenge. Like, can I learn from this engine? What are lessons? How can I kind of exploit it? I
approach it as and this maybe comes back to how I play Football Manager. In fact, I played Football Manager for so long and worked on it. I will never view a match engine in a game like this as an accurate simulation of football. You'll never do it. I view it as a puzzle to try and solve and something to try and break and work out what works. And for some people, that deconstructing the game like that just makes it unfun because it's not a football game anymore. But for me, that's just like, I really enjoy playing the game like that and trying to kind of figure out what will or won't work against certain teams. But I accept there was instances in the match engine this year where I got really, really annoyed with the match engine like anyone else. And you kind of feel like, I can't do anything about that thing that happened. I mean, I looked at it at one point. I think my XG after like when my team that kept drawn was like 36 and I'd scored 27. Ooh. And I'm sat thinking, my players have crap shooting. I think I had one player above 80 shooting. So that was like my learning for the next season. It's like, just have to have players who can shoot. And I'd probably do way better than drawing all of them. But at the same time, like it would have been very easy for me to look at it and go, well, I just got XG, didn't I? Just crap luck. But I think even when the engine is kind of against you and there's at times there are unavoidable goals that you just feel like, well, that isn't even my tactical instructions that have led to that. Like everyone has that same engine to deal with and it's up to you to kind of find those little ways to turn it in your favor, I suppose.
Accept it and move on. Kind of this.
I'll be honest. It's very easy to say that, and there's definitely times where I wouldn't accept it, and I'll be there ranting away to whoever is happy to listen to me rant away about the fact I've drawn 7 games in a row or whatever it was. But at the same time, I kept playing it because it's really, really enjoyable. Just an addict.
Yeah. Great. We love to hear it. So what do we expect from those curved ball or the new attacking? Like, do we expect big things from it or not so much?
It's going to be interesting. It's one of those things where I kind of want to know how the current attributes interface with it. Because I'm looking at like all my bronze midfielders with 90 plus passing, thinking, is this going to be the season of passing? Because I know one who could shoot last season. It's weird with the match engine. I've not had that much time to play the experimental one yet, so we'll see. I mean, how do you guys? Obviously, you've played a lot more seasons than me. So am I just coming in bright-eyed and bushy-eared, like having not been dragged through the ringer of multiple seasons dealing with match engines, or like, how do you guys feel about it?
Well, I guess how I feel about and how I approach it when it comes to like testing is that I'll always spam out just my current tactic and see, is this got any chance of working again this season? Which beginning of season 5 in the pod I went, I think I'm struggling this season, folks. I think my 3 at the back's done for. And then lo and behold, 11 games in, I've got 6 points out of 33, and I was done for. But I turned out to be a phenomenal manager and turn it around. However, I think you mentioned this on the Ramble pod, Jack, that has historically been the case as well. About 2-3 days before the season starts, there was sort of like a little bit of a patch update to the engine. And it seems like a bit of a conspiracy theory, maybe superstitious people, that it almost has too much of an impact where it doesn't. I wasn't like pointing, like ousting you there by any chance.
No, I mean, I literally said that.
People do a lot of testing, and then sort of like a minor patch comes, but it feels like it shakes things up quite drastically before the season starts.
I think I love that because I like thinking, right, what have they changed? And then I'll try and spot what's changed and how it's going to change things. Yeah. Whereas I think it can be easy to go, well, this was working, I'll spam it for a few more, and then in the new engine it doesn't work. It's like, well, the new engine's just crap then, isn't it? And I get why people feel hard done by. It'd almost be nice if there was a predetermined cutoff date where they say, this is the date that we lock in the match engine, and whatever is in friendlies on this date is what we'll use. Because at least then people wouldn't feel like their effort's in vain if there is going to be like this patch just before. I mean, I empathise with the match engine guys because it's just a one-man band as far as I'm aware. And you're never going to catch everything. Like, I remember when I worked at Football Manager, there was a mug that was like in the kitchen that was just like, one does not simply fix the match engine, because it's like, you never know what you might have crosses that never connect with a target. So you like tweak a little value in crossing in the code, and suddenly 1 in 10 crosses just hits the crossbar and goes out the other end. I remember that was an issue in one year of Football Manager. So like there are like tiny little changes you can make that just have these huge consequences that you won't catch in like a day or two of testing. And it's the same, like I play Football Manager and we've been on the same match engine patch in that game for like 18 months. And there's now just certain times where you'll see a highlight and you know what's going to happen, like because you just see it play out. So it's one of the things I like about MFL is the fact the match engine's constantly changing because it feels less predictable, but obviously there is a degree of predictability needed, or at least I think some transparency. There's no point in providing like the full patch notes. You'll see them always say like, oh, we've tweaked the behavior of goalies or whatever. And I'm sure there's some people clamoring for like, tell us what you've tweaked. But the issue is you could say, oh, we changed this value and that value, but it probably has a load of knock-on effects. And then people would be annoyed that that stuff hasn't been disclosed as well when it wasn't maybe known about. It's tricky. I just think have a cut-off date where you say this is going to be the last day. Maybe I missed it. It felt like there was a bit of ambiguity as to when the match engine was locked in going into this season just gone.
Yeah, I like that. I don't think there is really such a thing, but we should put it on the calendar, or like kind of rollover day means new engine rollover also. Like we can cut it off and then you can really test indeed, because you don't want to test and then find out.
And sometimes there'll be a time where they work on an engine. They go, this isn't really, we can't ship this on the day we've said to lock it in, bring it in the next season or keep working on it. Like, I think people would rather have something that's predictable than kind of something that releases and then you're like, crap, we need to cram in some last minute fixes because we didn't quite test it right, which I think is perhaps the perception it has, at least this year. But I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think I empathize. So I worked in game development for 10 years, and there's definitely times where users and players of a game will perceive something one way, but actually it's just the reality of game development is it was just either unintended or just an unavoidable thing that wasn't possible to foresee.
Yeah, good. Well, I like the when cut-off date or when confirmed engine.
Or just say, we think this is the final engine or this is the final update. Just say something definitive when you drop one. And maybe set like an internal thing, which like we will never update the match engine the Monday before the season starts, or like the weekend before the season starts. So you give people 4 days to test to their heart's desires.
Yeah, I like that.
One thing that they always never do is change it mid-season. That's one thing they've said they'd always never do.
Yeah.
Unless something is like completely...
I bet you were wishing for that after the first half of the season with the Wyverns.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Maybe they secretly did
make
for you.
3 at the back great again. Now I've suddenly got to be the biggest advocate for 4-1-2-1-2 for the next 4 seasons until it, you know... But I'll never go to 5 at the back. You'll never catch me doing 5 at the back.
Oh, one of my teams played 5 at the back this year and it worked. So.
Oh, don't tell me that.
But I liked playing so many different tactics this year. It's really fun.
I'll go and get some wing back. Then I don't think I own a single wing back. I don't think I've even packed one before. You know what's happening on Wednesday, folks. I'm getting
speaking about packing, Jimbo, reward packs. That's a new thing. That's a new thing. So the reward packs. The text they put on the visual was choose from tighter 5 overall ranges to get the players you really want on the MFL store. So now you have a bit less risk. Before, for example, for me, I would often get 4 rare players, and then sometimes you have like an 82, 83, and you're really buzzing, and sometimes you have a 76, 77, and you feel a bit like I should have sold this pack, and you really want to. The pack drop is for packs with risk, and this should be maybe have less risk, but then low risk or a little bit risk. Now we can choose to have less risk. So what are our reactions to that, and how will it impact?
I guess the biggest question on everyone's mind, which we'll find out on rollover day, which will be Monday or Tuesday, is how much will these packs cost? And that was a raging debate since these got announced last week. Feels like a few people come to the agreement that like minimum 3 times the current price is going to be.
I think like 2.5.
Yeah, I think always going to be minimum 2, but that doesn't feel quite right. But 2.5 to 3.
How fuming are you going to be if you go all out on like the newer upper tier legendary pack or the upper rare one and you get a goalie though? Like that's gonna be like a new level of rage for people.
The gloves appear, and it can happen. But
too overpriced.
But let's use, for example, a rare player as an example, or maybe uncommon. What do you say? What's better as an example?
Uncommon has a nice round value, doesn't it, of 10,000?
Yeah. So let's say 10,000. So right now that is a 65 to 74. You could get for 10,000. So what would you say would be a good price then for like a 70 to 74? That you for sure have a higher.
Well, if we use that logic, we could say like 30k, aren't we?
I think it might be more than 30. I've got this. I know I said 2.5. I feel like for maybe the lower tier ones, it could be like a smaller rise, just because like the gap between common and limited prices is smaller. But
then the rare, that 50 gets like lower for the 75 to 79 because now it's 50.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I wonder if it'd be like 2.5 times like the upper common value, but then for like the amount it is more is actually higher, the more expensive the pack. But part of me wonders, and they'll never split up the packs, I don't think, any more than what they're about to do. It's like, what would be better for people? Like determining the overall of a player or determining like the position. I saw a discussion around this. Like,
people about the age or something as well.
Would you like an attacker pack or like a Wonder Kid pack? Like, in a weird way, it's
People
it's like the overall is almost like a weird thing, I think, to at least coming from the outside in. Like, I understand why someone might want an 80 to 85 rated, but like for the pricing to make sense, like it's got to be multitudes more than like the regular one, but almost to a point where I don't know how popular they're going to be. I'd almost rather shoot my shot with 3 rare packs and hope that one of them hits that upper, 5 range versus only getting one of them and then it ends up being a goalie.
Yeah, I'm very curious. But I like also those special packs, like with Football Manager. Another fun thing is this youth intake, right? That you get this whole list
I mean, I'm disappointed there's no youth. I want to
Yeah.
pitch the idea that when players retire, there's like a 1 in 5 chance their like son appears in your agency. They get like a mini
That'd be
me of
fun,
them
yeah,
that's like maybe
yeah.
plays the same formation, same positions, and like just is random.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, let's see.
I like the idea of kind of that what they're going for here. I think it's really interesting to see like how it's taken on by the players, because I think it's one of those things where when you're designing a game element like this and trying to anticipate user behavior, it never goes how you imagine. I'm sure kind of I think it was because of all the new players, but what happened last pre-season with like just the common packs being spammed, like probably wasn't how it was ever intended to be. That the value would be in, well, I'm going to buy 500 of the common player packs and list them all on floaty.
It's really interesting.
It's tricky because you don't want to kind of dictate the market or kind of like control how people are going to play the game, but you've got to try and anticipate with the pricing of this stuff. I think there's like a 90% chance everyone goes, well, these are overpriced, I'm just going to go for the cheaper ones anyway. And there'll be like a 10% chance everyone goes, oh, these are reasonable.
And necessarily for everyone overestimates progression. So you say, oh, I just get younger guys and then progress my way into the higher levels. I think that's going to be a big feeling. So
and the question we'll all see on Tuesday, and it always pops up, what's the best EV for which pack? Which pack will have the best resale on floaty? I'm like, well,
just open them all.
None of us
Enjoy
know, mate. None of us know. Just open them all. Have a bit of fun. Let your mum open a pack. Let your girlfriend open a pack.
Open with your nose.
Yeah, I was going to say let your dog's nose do it, but do it with your own nose. Just any way, and then boast about it.
Always you get like 5 questions. What is the price of this? Or like, what do I sell it for? Or like, come on.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like I always get annoyed playing Football Manager. The question is, who should I manage for my new save go? I feel like what is the EV of the packs? Like, is like the MFL equivalent. It's like, well, it's just up to you, mate. And it's going to change constantly anyway.
Like, what should I do? Like, it depends on your goals and what you want to achieve. Like, I don't know. There's like 5. That's a great thing about MFL. You can play in so many different ways. And
honestly, just buy all the common packs and rip them open yourself and have fun with it.
Because that I think was it last season before had good value where you could open the 600 MFL common player pack, and then if you even wanted to resell the player, I mean, we can just influence the market here, can't we? We can just pretend something's really good, right? Everyone buy the rare pack. That's the one you should all be buying.
Yeah, some financial advice, guys. Keep buying more common packs. Okay, let's go. We can totally swing the market a little bit.
I think people are going to be disappointed about the rate. I think people have got this idealistic thing about what the range packs are actually going to be worth, and like I think people have to be a bit realistic with it.
Just assume it's like 5x. Anything lower than that, you're like, okay, it's not too bad.
Yeah, literally. That'll make you happier with it.
Yeah.
I just open the packs anyway. Just open loads of the cheaper ones and you'll probably enjoy it more.
Expect the worst outcome. That's how
the dopamine's more spread out if you open the cheaper packs. So
exactly. More the merrier. Would you want one big birthday present, or would you like 200? Well, I think I know. Not quite the same, but maybe an exaggeration.
So, We'll see. Very curious. And when this, I think they will announce it on Monday, right? So when
rollover days. That's the other bit. Is it Monday or is it Tuesday? It's a rollover day, but it's 24 hours.
It's 24
across
hours.
2 days. So which day is it?
We'll know very soon.
That's what always gets people. Second rollover day starts. When's it going to end? The day.
I will say just Tuesday. On the new packs, I want to see someone rip the new legendary pack that's going to come out. Like
they're going to have some.
We're not quite at the FIFA level. Well, you guys have shown pack openings on stream before. We're going to get someone on for a share play where you watch that. I don't know if you've seen it with like EAFC YouTubers where they would do the thing where they like spectate their viewers opening their packs. Just try and find Ronin and be like, mate, just open up your biggest, buy the big one. It's probably not worth it.
Yeah.
Do it on stream so I can put the clickbait YouTube title. Opening the new $1,000 pack.
Also, I wonder how much they would resell for. They're going to be.
Do you reckon anyone's going to buy one just to list it and see?
Well, the legendary ones are interesting because you can see the pool. Obviously, you can see the pool of players, but with legendary, there's such a finite amount of them that sometimes they're just the legendary pack's just left there because they know, well, if I open this, I've got a 75% chance it's lower than 88. So what's the point? So it's almost, do you take that early gamble? Do you wait a bit and let someone else take the garbage? Hot trash, or whatever they say in America, hot garbage. Or do you try and, grow a big pair and go for it yourself?
Yeah. You can get
I think as a new player, I'm going to watch the reward packs from afar and just kind of enjoy everyone else arguing over them while I just, silently open my 10 common packs in the corner.
I'm going to sit on my hands for a bit, I think. And be like, right, let's watch this unfold with a Michael Jackson popcorn. Yes. Just sort of...
We'll see. Okay, now Jimbo is the moment where I say we've been recording for
here we go.
quite some time, but we always have one final question, and I really like this one. And when Laird asked this question, we were already about to answer it. It's always a bit philosophical. So Laird asked you, Jack, is the point of MFL to win the Diamond League?
No. That's not a very philosophical answer, is it? Let's just leave it there. I honestly, the thing that I love about MFL is I think in a lot of games like this, people just want that gratification, becoming the best in the game or like reaching the summit. And the reality is in MFL, you're never, like, I'm sorry to speak to 99.8% of us, including myself in the mirror, we're never going to achieve that, and I'm sorry. But I think, and I almost approach it the same way I approach Football Manager save games, where people ask me, what team should I manage? It's like, well, what are you looking to get out of the team you're going to manage? Do you want to develop players? Do you want to take a team that's fallen from grace back up? And obviously, the goals you set yourself in MFL are very, very different. And for some people, it'll be, I just want to sustain an agency at a certain level. For some people, it'll be they'll hone in on one or two players or a certain team, and they want to just try and get it as high as they can. And for some people, they'll enjoy the thrill of just constantly, recycling teams up a division, selling them on, buying a team in the tier they've just promoted out of. And I love the fact that with MFL, like, whilst I guess it's obvious, it's easy to look at it when you first start playing and go, oh, well, the aim is to win the Diamond Division. Like, you're not going to do that. Like, it's about you finding your own achievable goals. And I almost like the fact there's goals that are unattainable. It's one of the things that I really appreciate with Football Manager when I play it is you feel like you're part of a footballing universe. In a lot of games, you are the center of the universe. Like, you are the main character and everything happens around you. And so for a game like MFL, where the reality is you're a tiny cog in the grand scheme of things, you can kind of look at the pyramid and find your team like, I'm in the 5th highest division, but actually I'm like, so far down in reality, even though it feels like you're high up. I enjoy that factor. And there'll be people who absolutely hate that. And there'll be people who look at it and go, MFL is a game where you'll just have as much success based on how much money you put in. But actually, you can punch above your weight if you want. You can become the Wyverns, the survival specialists. You can be Black Sea and just ping-ponging up and down and hopefully winning a playoff final very shortly. Or you can be like me and draw every game. And like, if you've got players that are developing, if you still get that dopamine hit when you wake up at 8 a.m. and then you're like kicking rocks for 2 hours while you wait for progression to come in, like it's like whatever you want to make of it. And that's what I really, really enjoy about MFL. So to answer the question, I think it sounds really cheesy. The aim of MFL is to have fun. And for some people, it will be to win the Diamond League. But for those people, they are always going to be disappointed, and it's probably not the game for them.
Yes,
and that's kind of okay.
Very well said. We should write it out and stick it on the wall somewhere in the MFL.
You could definitely cut a third of it out.
Just no.
No. It's, really good. I love it. So, do you have a question for our next guest? Something
I do. Presuming, obviously, the season won't have started when whoever it is on. How many formations are you planning on using for the coming year? Like, are they going to have the one formation? Are they going to be like me, where it's like, I've got 10 different variants? Can anyone beat 7? I mean, I'm interested to know if anyone has the same philosophical approach as me, or if I'm just on my own here. We've got you locking in with your 4-1-2-1-2, Jimbo, which I assume you're going to plod on with this year.
Well, yeah, I'll plod on because I'm hoping to carry that momentum and continue.
Well, you're going to win the league next year, aren't you, based on the current?
Oh, well. If I
the same points from the first half of the season.
But going back to what you just said there, Jack, I get immense thrill and fun out of basically proving the projections wrong and staying in the division. I love it. It's like Everton in the Premier League. You tease everyone at the beginning of the season. You go, well, actually, we won't change manager because I don't particularly want to sell the club unless someone else wants to do the tactics for me. But we'll change the system, which you could argue is changing manager, and then we survive. I have much more fun doing that than worrying about am I going to win bronze this season. I'm like, that's why. Have fun.
It sounds like such a cheesy answer. I think that is the way to enjoy MFL. Yeah. I think if you approach it any other way, like the one way not to approach it is, I'm going to become a millionaire off this game. I'm sorry to break it to you, Timmy. This isn't Football Manager. You're not going to hoard 16-year-olds and sell them to Premier League clubs in 10 years for millions of pounds. It's just not how it works.
Well, you could do that with MFL points and be like Goga and pay $5,000 to get at least 1 million
That's
MFL.
True. And that isn't a wrong way to play the game.
No,
if you
exactly.
Want to play it like that, if you get your enjoyment out of listing 1,000 common player packs, you do that to make your money.
To be fair, you can bulk list on Floaty.
Oh, can you? Oh, okay.
But it's just, but it is just the sanity of clicking buy buy on the MFL website.
I just like the idea of having to list them individually. It's like, is it really worth after the labour costs?
There must be something like, it must just be uncommons or a better value here or that. But no, I'm looking forward to how Go-Go does there with that. I reckon he's done the maths. He's let's see. Ladies and gentlemen, it's come to the time of the podcast where we reveal this week's hashtag. And if you're listening to this part of the podcast, you have done very well because we are an hour and 52 minutes in. So much content for you to enjoy, multiple drives to work during this week, or maybe doing it all in one stint on a treadmill. Maybe getting your fitness in or whatever. I've seen that from other podcasts, Palmer with the MFL Ramble. But nonetheless, hashtag of the week, incorporating some of the topics of today with the guest of today. We're going with hashtag work the engine. Hashtag work the engine. Pop it in on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it these days, in the MFL Discord, in the WenDirk Discord. If you're in Jack's WorkTheSpace Discord, just pop it in there. Let them know. If you're
everywhere.
Yeah,
log into your granny's iPad, go on her Facebook community pages, write it there.
Yeah, on Facebook, go everywhere. You know, anything and everywhere. On your emails, on your signatures, on your work emails.
On your work emails.
Not kind regards. Work the engine, Jimbo. You know, sign it off. But right, hashtag work the engine. But before we round things up, I want to say a massive thank you to WorkTheSpace, Jack, for being on the pod today. You've been great. Hope you had a good time.
Oh, mate, it's been great. Thank you for having me on. Obviously, you guys reached out to me a while ago, and I thought, we'll wait until I derail Calva's season, which we've now successfully done.
Mission complete.
It's great to be on. Your podcast was one of the first ones I discovered when I was kind of finding out about MFL. And really cool to have on and have a chat. I hope people have enjoyed listening to it, even if they completely disagree with my way of approaching the game. It's one of my favourite things about games like this. There's not a wrong or right way to manage a football team, much like in real life or in Football Manager. So I'm interested to see if there's much of a discussion to be had there. Maybe there's one other person like me with 7 formations saved up. I need 7, just out to the devs of MFL, 10 tactic slots, please. 5 is not enough for me. I have to write them down on a notepad and it's a nightmare.
But as long as you do that all by having fun and being disciplined as well, I guess we'll have to put that in there. Do it by enjoy yourself, but do it by being disciplined. Right. Hashtag work the space. Hashtag work the engine. Jack, thank you for being on the pod. See you all on Wednesday, folks, for the pre-season pack drop. I hope you get the packs and rewards that you want on Tuesday post rollover day. Let us know what you get. We want to see them, especially if you've gone for the upper tiers of those packs. But right, thank you all so very much for listening, and we'll see you this time next week for an episode of the WenDirkCast. Thank you for listening.
Don't be a wang.